If you want to become superhuman, start fasting. Fast with the seasons. Try intermittent fasting. Whatever style of fasting works for you. If you don't know what fasting is, it's basically abstaining from eating food or drinking water for a certain period of time. So with water fasting, you are only drinking water for a certain amount of time. It could be 1 day, 4 days, a week, or even a month. A month water fast is an extended fast, and I would only recommend that to seasoned fasters or people who have some guidance and help. If you do dry fasting, which is abstaining from both food and water, this is the type of fast that people do during Ramadan. That's also another type of fasting, right? So dry fasting, water fasting, there's intermittent fasting, which is only eating between certain hours, whether that be 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. or 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. There's so many different types of fasting. And why I say that it will make you superhuman, it will activate that God or goddess within you, is because it'll strengthen you mentally, spiritually, physically, and emotionally. And fasting is arguably one of the only ways to heal the body, actually heal the body from any disease, okay? Any disease. There's a lot of things about our bodies that we have been taught that will take some unlearning, because when people are unaware of how to take care of themselves, by themselves, for themselves, and take care of their family members, what happens when people get sick? They go to the doctor. Any type of sickness, right? Ranging from a common cold to cancer. You go to the doctor seeking medicine, and you get that medicine, and what it does, it either is suppressing symptoms until your body does what it does, which is heal, and the sickness goes away, or it, with extreme cases like chemotherapy, it's killing off cells that are bad, but it's also killing off cells that are good simultaneously, which is why people lose their hair and things like that. And we don't necessarily have to go through that. It depends on your belief system, right? If you believe, if I'm sick, I have to go to the doctor, I have to get medicine, that's your belief. But the medical system changed drastically during the 20th century. There used to be a lot of medical schools that were not a part of large organizations, where they were teaching things like herbal concoctions and tinctures and ways to heal the body. But there was lots of funding that went into the medical system, and now we have huge, and I'm speaking specifically for the United States, we have these medical schools and things that teach doctors how to heal, how to medicate. I'm not even going to say heal. I do believe there's great doctors out there who actually want to help you heal, and they do their own research and things like that, apart from what they have learned in medical school. Because most of the time, and I didn't go to medical school, I'm just speaking based off the research that I've done. In medical school, they teach you certain things, and you might even go to a doctor and they just give you a prescription. They listen for symptoms, they give you a prescription. For me, it got really frustrating because I would go to the doctor, tell them my symptoms, and they'd give me medication, but I don't want to be on medication my whole life, right? I don't want to have to keep taking this. I want my body to just function normally without getting sick. Humans, we're not really supposed to be getting sick, but what makes us sick is all of the accumulation of, and I promise we're gonna get to the good part, but you gotta understand some things, right? Why fasting is so amazing is because we get sick from our colons, right? Our colons is basically the place where sickness can thrive and just build, right? And that comes from what we eat. When we are eating a lot of junk, a lot of things getting, too much of this or too little of that, it can cause different things to happen in the body. And once I started realizing this, I was like, oh, I don't want this. Like, I don't want illness. I don't want to have to. And for me, I'm going to be very honest. I used to have cystic acne. Now I still get a little, this and that here and there, but my skin has healed drastically from even, what are we in, October, from January. Okay, look at my skin from January to now. It is completely different, and I have done this naturally because I did not want to have to use medication on my skin every day. No, I just want to be washing my face with natural good products and have good skin. Like, so I was like, okay, I don't want to go to the doctor and they tell me I need this. I want to do this naturally. How can I do this? Started off changing the way that I eat, took on a plant-based diet, a vegan or vegan diet, because I love honey and I will not stop eating honey because honey is amazing. Shout out to lifeofhoney.com. And so I started changing the way that I eat, and then there was a lot for me to learn around that. But then I learned about fasting and how what happens with fasting, your body does not have to process food. Therefore, it can use all of its energy to heal. Think about when you're sleeping. When you're sleeping, you are fasting. Your body is using all of the energy it has if your body has finished digesting food, because sometimes we don't get great sleep. And I myself have to work on this too, because we eat late and a lot, and therefore sometimes when we sleep, a good portion of that time is taken to digest the food and therefore not heal the body. But when we are fasting, when the body has digested everything and there's nothing, like, it's chilling, the body, the insides, the organs are like, oh, okay, we processed all the food here. What else can we do to heal? Because healing is the natural state of the human body. Humans, we're naturally always healing. Even if you're sick, that is your body actually healing itself. So once the body is chilling and it's like, okay, we what can we do? It's like, okay, I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna empty out the mucus here, right? And then send it to the colon or wherever. Oh, I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna take out the negative bad stuff in the bloodstream and send it to be filtered through the liver and the kidneys. Or I'm gonna go to the stomach, the colon, and I'm gonna kill some parasites, because we have the energy to do that. And so your body starts to heal itself. It starts to cleanse. And the reason that I fast with the seasons is because, well, human bodies are elemental. All of the components of our bodies, what our bodies are made up of, are also found in the stars. So we are so connected to those elements, to the sun, to the moon, to the earth, to the celestial plane. We are celestial. And when drastic things are happening in the celestial bodies during the equinox, we just had the fall equinox, during the solstice, right? We have 2 of each a year, I believe. And so when that's happening, it is the perfect time to fast and harness the energy from the sun, from the moon, and really heal our bodies. So I have been doing different types of fasts for a period of days during the seasons for a little, maybe a couple years now. And I've also done intermittent fasting, and I've done all different types of fasting. And here's how it's going to strengthen you mentally. Fasting is a very, at first, and even once you're seasoned, it can be difficult on the mind, because you are putting stress on yourself. You are activating some, willpower by not eating, but also, fasting increases your I believe it's BDNF, your brain derived neurotrophic factor. I have to double check that, but that helps with neuroplasticity. It's found in your central nervous system, it's found in your brain, and it's found in your gut. And so fasting literally increases that factor, which is a protein, and that protein activates things in our mind such as learning, memory enhancement, all those things. So when you fast and you increase this protein, you're getting mentally stronger. You're also training your body to respond differently to stress, giving your mind the permission to handle things. And I don't like to look at things. I'm changing this in my mind actively, right? I'm changing how I see things as hard versus easy, because all it means for something to be easy is that I have the mental capacity to handle this thing. When it's hard, I don't have the mental capacity to handle this thing. So fasting allowed me to gain more of the mental capacity to handle things because I did something hard on my body. Fasting can be hard on the body itself. So here's how it strengthens you physically. We already talked about how it cleans you out. And something important to note, when you're fasting and you're not stimulating your colon, you're going to need something to stimulate your colon to get rid of all the waste that is building up in the body from your body cleaning itself, right? It's all going to be there in the colon. So when your colon isn't stimulated, you don't use the bathroom. So you need something to make you go, whether it's going to be a laxative, herbal preferably, right? We want the herbs as much as possible, natural as much as possible. So an herbal laxative or a colon cleanse, also herbal colon cleanse. Or I met this woman and she gave me this oxygen supplement with magnesium, and it collects I'm going to use some words here now. It collects stuck feces off of your intestinal tract, and it, and it gets that out. And that thing, if she ever gives me a link, I will put it in the description, because that thing was very powerful, and it works, and it's amazing. And I like that it's natural, and it's almost, to me, it feels like medicine, but natural medicine, and that's what I like. And let me also make a disclaimer. The medical system, typically, I think, in the ways that on a lower level is kind of performed, I don't really like that. I think that I can learn about how to heal myself and do that. But when it comes to needing surgery, when it comes to a puncture, a wound, stitches, for sure, go to the doctor. You need surgery, my friend, my love, go to the doctor, okay? Yeah, so I have stitches. I had stitches here, but anyways, so it strengthens your body. By releasing all that waste, you become lighter. Your body actually becomes lighter, and you're able to function and perform better, because your body, again, has that energy for you to use that it's not using for digestion. Now, during the fast, it's completely different. So when I'm talking about how fasting strengthens you, you're gonna likely see this after the fast. Besides the mental strength and spiritual strength, likely the physical strength and the emotional strength you will see after fasting. Because during the fast, your body might feel weak. There's going to be some days where you're feeling super strong and like, okay, this was easy. But there's also some days where your body might feel weak because your brain is releasing heavy metals. You might get a rocking headache. You might not be able to even stand up. You might get dizzy and have to sleep for a long time. That is your body healing. Get through it. It's going to be hard on your body. You might want to get something in the body, but let your body do its thing. Just run the course of that bad feeling that your body's having, because I have had some times, and where my body feels literally insane. It's going insane. I can't stand up. I feel like I'm gonna pass out every time I stand up. I take a nap, I stand up, I feel like I'm gonna pass out, and I just had to sleep. But after a few times fasting, that settles. It doesn't get as, you don't feel as much of that. So keep that in mind. It's gonna be harder the more that your body has to do. But luckily, the more you do it, the less your body's gonna have to do, because you've cleaned yourself out. You've done that. And I want to speak briefly on fasting times. Now, I personally choose to do shorter fasting times with the seasons, whether that be from 3 days to a week. I have not done a 21-day fast, and honestly, I don't know if I plan to do that, because I haven't experienced any serious health issue where I feel like that's needed. But for me, I like the, slow kind of medium intensity fasts. All right. But if you need that, if you need to fast, if you're like sick of whatever your sickness is, you can do a longer fast. I do just advise you have someone with you to support you for that. And so yeah, fasting strengthens your body physically. You become lighter. You will lose weight for sure. There was one time I fasted, and after the fast, started eating, and I decided, okay, I'm gonna go for a run. I want to get my body back fit. I thought that I was gonna be tired. I ran longer, harder, and faster than I did before the fast, because my body was stronger. The cells had time to recycle their old parts and make it stronger. The body is so amazing and fascinating, and it has these mechanisms built in where if you let it do what it needs to do by just chilling on the food for a second, it's gonna make you superhuman. It's gonna make you stronger, right? That physical strength is going to increase. That mental strength is going to increase. You'll be able to handle things. You'll be able to see things. Now, speaking of seeing things, when you fast, your body becomes spiritually stronger, okay? And the spirit is connected to fasting because we are spiritual beings. Therefore, when we are releasing waste from our bodies physically, we are also releasing waste from our bodies spiritually. And a lot of people fast so that they can hear God clearer, so that they can get closer to God. When you don't fast, when you're not cooking, you will see, and you're not cooking, you're not eating, you will see how much time is actually spent on that. And then you will have time to look at how you spend your days. You will have time to analyze what you even think about, what your thoughts are, and you will be able to connect more deeply with yourself. Therefore, connecting more deeply with God, you will be able to hear things. People say hear God. I don't think I've ever heard God like for real, where it was like God was speaking in my ear, but I've heard God by just receiving things in my mind and being like, oh, that's from God, because like that's from deep within me. That's from deep. That's my spirit. That's God speaking. That's that Holy Spirit, because I didn't know this before, and this is new information that feels like I'm having a whole epiphany right now. You'll likely get some of those while fasting or after fasting, because it's just allowing you to feel, to open up, to release anything holding you back, release waste from your body physically, and then be able to connect more deeply spiritually, because you don't have those things weighing you down. You don't have 10 pounds in your colon of waste and mucus and acid just sitting there. Nah, you allowed your body to clean some of that out. And the cool thing with intermittent fasting is that if you do that every day, you're doing that a little bit every day. So you're ridding yourself of a little bit of waste every day. And I will say the longer the fast, it can be more powerful, but you don't necessarily have to do a long fast. It's just that the body can do more with more amounts of time. And you do want to be careful that you're not overdoing it, like, because sometimes you're not that sick, or you might be healing from something, and it doesn't necessarily need as much time as you give it, but you know, start with a few days and see how your body does. Fast with the seasons, fast whenever you feel like it. Sometimes I'll do a fast just on Saturday. Saturday is my Sabbath day. It is my rest day because God rested on the seventh day. If you know, you know. And so I take the Saturdays, the Sabbath day, to rest. And sometimes I'll fast so that I'm resting my body. My body's really resting and recycling and doing its thing. So it allows you to hear God, get closer to God. That is how you strengthen yourself spiritually through fasting. Another thing to note is the brain gut connection. Your gut is, for me, I feel like the gut is the, like, my spiritual instinct. So when I have a gut instinct, a gut feeling to do something, that is my spirit nudging me. A lot of people aren't in tune with what their guts are saying. Their guts got parasites telling them to do something. Got the parasites connecting with the brain, telling them to do things, because, you know, the gut has a brain, the brain has a brain, and the the mind, the head has a brain, and they're connected, okay? So when your gut is messed up, inflamed, constipated, parasitic, mucus acid, and is connecting that with the brain, then what will you experience? You can think about that for yourself. It's likely gonna be negative things, and that also, you know, is reversed. So if you're feeding your brain really horrible negative music where it's like killing nigga, like, it's just, I stopped listening to all that music. The beats are so amazing, okay? I wish that all the rappers that I used to listen to and love, like, the whole song was about good things and not about, or not even just better things, okay? Because sometimes, you know, good is relative, whatever. Things that I wanted to hear, but I can't control everything. So anyways, if you're feeding your mind, you know, music that's not that good, weird negative TV shows, and just arguing and gossip and all these things, your gut is probably going to crave that type of stuff to match that. Therefore, it's going to be making you eat things that aren't great, like chips, soda, hot wings, frequently. And then your gut and your brain, they'll be in sync, aligned, and producing certain things. But when that brain is healthy, you're saying your affirmations, you're meditating, right? Meditating is like brain fasting. And so you're allowing those thoughts to just dissipate, or just view them and not judge yourself. And you're listening to good wholesome music in 432 hertz, and you're just reading, you're learning a language, playing an instrument, feeding your brain good things. Your stomach is going to want to match that. It's going to want to, they're connected, right? It's gonna want nourishment for that, to keep that going. The brain likes that. The brain wants to conserve energy, so therefore it's going to do what is easiest for it. If you're feeding it good things, it's going to be easiest to continue to have those good things instead of changing, right? It doesn't like too much change. It's easier for it to stay the same. So continue feeding your brain good food, affirmations, visualization, and your gut will want to also be fed good food, since they are connected. And then once those two are connected and being good and producing good results, and you can hear your instincts, you can hear your intuition because your gut is on point, then you will be more spiritually connected. You'll be able to hear God and trust God, right? A lot of the time, the gut instinct might be there, but you don't know if it's real, if you should go with it, if you should go toward that, if you should leave that woman, leave that man, or leave that job, or stay, build that marriage up. You don't know because your gut is inflamed and messed up. You got to get that brain and gut connection on point, and fasting can help you do that, and therefore connect you more deeply with God and make you stronger, superhuman spiritually. Now, when it comes to emotional strength, fasting is amazing to allow you to hold your emotions and experience them deep inside of you. And I'm gonna give an example of this from my most recent fast, because this most recent fast that I had, I experienced the true emotional strength that I actually have. And I was so happy. So anyways, let's get to the point, right? So I'm fasting. I did a fast for 4 days, and I did a parasite cleanse for 2 weeks. I started the parasite cleanse a little bit before I started fasting, and then just finished it throughout the fast and after the fast. So I did my fast, and then after the fast is sometimes when those emotions start to come up for me. They came up a little bit during the fast, but really after, once like the cleansing is out and the emotions have room to come up, boy, so this what happened. I'm sitting there on the couch and I was watching something. I don't know if I was eating at this point. I might have been eating something, but my body kind of just felt overwhelmed with, like, I was about to cry, right? I'm about to cry, and I'm like, I know the drill. I fasted, and I know it's like a release that you can't really control sometimes. If you try to control it, you're only hurting yourself. Just let it out. And so I was like, oh gosh, here we go, right? It's like, here we go. Here's the tears. Here they are. Here's the feeling. What am I feeling? Right? So I'm crying. I'm like speaking to myself, and I get to asking myself, Kira, and I was kind of being hard on myself, but it was like, why aren't you this yet? Why aren't you this way yet? Why aren't you like this? And for me, it was those thoughts being revealed to me of how I actually felt about myself, right? It's not that I'm not that thing yet that I was just basically badgering myself about. It's just that is actually how I feel about myself, right? So how I actually feel about myself is, Kira, why aren't you this yet? Why aren't you that yet? And I'm thinking, that's not love. That's not real love. That's not self-love. That's not how I love my family. That's not how I love my friends. I don't think about the things that my friends and family are doing in most cases and be like, why aren't you this yet? Why aren't you that yet? You're not good enough. I never say that to them. I never look at my nephew and be like, you're not good enough. Like, I never look at my niece and whoever I love so dearly, my parents, brothers, sisters, whatever. I wouldn't look at them and do that. I just simply want them to do the best that they can. And yes, I can motivate them and say things to them, but the feeling when I'm doing that isn't like, you ain't shit. It's like, I want you to have everything that you want. But when I was saying it to myself, the feeling was like, you ain't shit. Like, I was like, ooh, I really feel this way about myself. But that emotion just came up, and I was able to hold it and experience and be like, wow, Kira, you on the low, like, you might be you're your biggest hater. You kind of hate on yourself in a weird way. And I was like, oh my gosh, how could I feel this way about myself? And it just brought on more tears and more, like, just overwhelming emotion. And at one point I was just laughing because it was funny. It was like, I do all these things for myself. I do so much to take care of myself. But I realized that the way that I was experiencing myself doing all these things to take care of myself, reading, meditating, stretching, skincare, hair care, all the things, journaling, taking walks, working out, starting my businesses, I realized that the way that I was perceiving this was from a place of, you're not good enough, so you have to compensate for that. And therefore, you need to do this thing. You need to say your affirmations every day. You need to do this every day. And there was, a realization of the pressure that I was putting on myself to be more, to do more, when actually I'm okay, right? I'm okay the way that I am, perfectly. I'm good. I'm Gucci. Like, I'm good. And so when I realized that I was hating on myself, I was able to perceive the things that I was doing for myself differently. I was like, you know what? Right now in this moment, I'm going to change it. I don't do all those things because I hate myself. I do all those things because I love myself, because I'm in love with myself, because I'm loving the future woman that I am, the woman who I see myself to be. I love me now, and I know that I want to get there. And just because I'm not her, like in this current time and space, I am her already, but in this current time and space doesn't mean that I hate myself. It just means I love myself enough to get there. I was like, thank God, because that feeling of hate was sitting in me for whatever reason, for whatever I experienced. And I purposely did not dig deep into why I was hating myself. I did not dig deep because, like, I don't need to bring that up, right? I just know that it's there. And I know blanketly, like, overall, why it's there, right? And that is because of the things that I've experienced in my life: trauma, abuse, mean words, negative experiences. All those things were still weighing heavily on me, making myself feel not good enough, making me feel like I hated myself. I don't even like that I felt that way, which is just insane considering how I thought I perceived myself. But anyways, it was sitting there, right? And it was sitting there deep inside of me. But once I fasted and was able to release waste out of my body, that emotional waste had to go too. My body had no choice. And so I had a few times like this where I was just sitting, just chilling, and then out of nowhere it's like, oh, okay, it's coming right now. And it's and I just cried and released. Crying is such an amazing release. So fasting will make you emotionally stronger because it will reveal to you what is there hidden in the dark, what is there that you may not want to look at. It will reveal your shadow self. And then from there, once it is revealed to you, you can go ahead and purposely make decisions to change that. Tell yourself, no, that is not how I want to feel. Say, actually, this is how I feel. This is actually why I'm doing all this. You can think that old self that you was hating on yourself, but I'm going to change it right now and say, no, I'm not doing that to overcompensate for a lack of love. I'm doing that to fuel my love for myself, to continue building it up, to continue igniting that flame for myself, that passion for me, for who I want to be, for me, right? And so that emotional release was just so good. And sometimes it can be hard to handle our emotions. A lot of us today are numb. Many cry barely. It's good to cry when you need to release, and it's good to be in touch with your emotions. And fasting just helps you release all these things emotionally, physically, and makes you stronger mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and makes you more confident in who you are. You start to care less. You start to make things matter more. So you're caring less, but things start to matter more that really align with you. And when I say care less, I mean you're not overthinking about what other people think about you. You care less. And even what you might even think about yourself, because you're not your thoughts anyways. So they can help you though. They can guide you. Like that thought that I experienced of me hating myself guided me to saying, actually, no, I love myself. And that's the new thought. Even though I was thinking on the surface, right, that I was loving myself. Underneath there, though, was a little bit of like haterism for me. And it was just like, ick. I don't like that. So I love myself. And I fast because fasting makes me superhuman. It makes me a superhuman goddess. And I continue to grow, get more beautiful, get more educated, get more wise, and just get more creative. Like every time I fast, I want to create so much because I feel like I have all this new energy. My cells have renewed themselves. And it's just amazing. So fast and become superhuman. Allow fasting to strengthen your brain, strengthen your body physically, and to help you connect further with God and to hold space for your emotions. Feel them. It is okay to feel. In fact, it is imperative to feel. We're here on earth to feel. Every time that I have an emotion that's overwhelming or even negative and even positive, right? I am so grateful, and this especially helps me with negative emotions. I actually haven't had this in a minute, which I'm realizing I'm kind of proud of myself because I haven't had to go through this thought process. But before, when I experienced some severe negative emotions, the way that I would get through it was by letting myself know that one day I'm gonna die, and therefore I won't be able to experience emotions in the same way as I can as an earthling. Therefore, I'm so grateful that I can experience an emotion. Like, if it's sadness, despair, God, I'm so happy that I can experience this because it's a privilege. So I hope you have a beautiful day and stay blessed.